Hey there everyone, Luke here. Hope you guys had a good couple of weeks. I say a couple of weeks, more like about 10, 11 days since the last time I've posted. But the reason was as I'm pretty sure people who are on Discord or I've spoken to know that I went to Iceland for my birthday. Yep, that Sunday when chapter 209 was posted. The day after that, we flew out to Iceland, and yeah, it was a pretty good trip. Although it's not really a place you can go in the winter, considering it'll be like what it is like right now, just dark throughout most of the day, with only it being 11 and 4 where you actually get the light. But we made the best out of that situation, and yeah, we're going to go back when it's more of the summer months, and also when my brother can actually rent a car in another country. So yeah, that's another thing as well. You definitely need a car to get to places. So that's my only advice if you're going to go to Iceland. But yeah, aside from that, was pretty good. And also, got myself a new hat. I don't know. Should I go like the hat with just the hat over the hat, or should I just alternate between reviews? Let me know what you guys think. Like, should I have the green hat that makes me look like Alan Grant, or should I just keep this hat that I've had all this time? But anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say out of that. But without further ado, let's just get back into business, talking about Yozakura family chapters. Okay, so this will be chapter 209, titled Futaba the Tracker. Oh yeah, I forgot. Last chapter we had Futaba find out that Kyorichio and Hiyofumi were cheating at her test, so now she's like, now you two have to be punished. And yeah, she's getting into being a little bit of her rage-induced moment with both of them. So yeah, we'll see how it goes with those. So yeah, it starts off with a recap of the last chapter, as we have Futaba's hair. Like, I don't know whether this is just like an extension of her ability from her training, but yeah, her hair now can basically be molded into fists as well, just to pummel at them. And yeah, throughout all of this, like, her hair is just like, does her hair like have a mind of its own now? Is it like Doctor Octopus's tentacles from Spider-Man? Yeah, so be interesting to see like what her true spring blooming is like after seeing what she's capable of with her hair now, how she's able to manipulate freely as an extension of herself. So yeah, we have the fists being molded into a tornado called the Nile Benevolent Kings. I guess that's what the ability is being called here. And she says to both of them, "I think you provoked me on purpose, hoping to turn up the intensity of Hifumi's training. I can see you trying to play at being a papa like that. But right now, our mission takes priority. So let's just wrap this up quickly." You can just see like the fear on Kyorichio and Hifumi's face. Like, yeah, we kind of done messed up here, as where we see the ability attack both of them. But of course, Kyorichio uses like what was it called again? Like the ability that I use to overshadow everyone, where as he used his forward bloom, and that kind of ability, he uses that to basically nullify Futaba's attack. So it's kind of like you got the fist coming at her, and then you just have his ability going like, so it's like as we also have Hiyofumi starting to use her yo-yo in combination with that. So basically what she's able to do is just spin her yo-yo really, really fast, and from what I can tell, it can sort of like expand, but not by much. So it's the best combination like that both of them can do against Futaba, as we get confirmation from Kyorichio fire memories by him going, listen here for me, in the spy world, they sometimes speak of Futaba as Yozakura's white girl, and that meeting her is the last thing you have to do. Yeah, no, you're not wrong, Creature. In fact, that's the same thing with every one of you Yozakura family members. Creature carries on and says, like, okay, so in order to activate your blooming, we've got to basically get you to that level of getting Futaba mad. And Hiyofumi is just like, wait, if I do that, then I'm not even going to be able to find my blooming in the first place. And he goes on, and Creature goes on to say, yeah, that's entirely possible. That's why we're going to work together and focus on evasion. I'll use my threads to accelerate your yo-yo. Futaba's ability to manipulate the flow, so the only way to counter that is another flow. So I guess it's kind of like, hey, what Shutsui says in Bleach about using ice as combat Yuha. Everyone was just like, how can you do that? How dare you do that? And Shutsui was like, Aizen may be an arsehole, but he's still stronger than all of you, and we need as many powerhouses as he can get at this point. So in order to combat evil, you've got to use evil yourself. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing here. Like, hey, in order to defeat someone using flow, you got to use a flow of your own. As we have Futaba saying that, oh, face me head on, how brave, I like it. And Creature's like, yeah, the mission does take priority, but this training is just a bonus. We'll hunt for an entrance to the lab while invading you. Do your best. And Futaba just being like the cocky, arrogant person that she can be at times. So I was like, oh, you think you could just offhandedly avoid me like that? If you have the time to spout impossibilities, then let's get started. As we see the fist made out of Futaba's head just greatly expand to that. To what is primarily known as like the comedic, like you go for the punch at someone, it's just like, oh yeah, my fist is enlarged for some reason. That's kind of the same thing going for here, and Karicha is just in that mindset of just okay, excuse me. Okay, her fists are enlarged. So what do? I know we got to enhance Hiyofumi's speed of the yo-yo. But at this point. But at this point, something happens. It's just like, so it's going like, and then it's like, doing, as Kyorichio at this point is just like, okay, wasn't expecting that. What the hell is going on here? As, okay, so yeah, Arcania Goddess Web. Okay, so that was the name of the technique. That's what I was trying to remember, that name of that technique. But yeah, at this point, Kyorichio was just in that mindset, like, okay, Futaba's enlarging everything, we've got to enhance everything, so come on, here for me, let's do this thing. Why is it stopped here for me? And then Futaba is just absolutely going insane at this point, just being like, I'm going to opponent him, and to the point that Kyorichio is just like, okay, Futaba, time out, and Futaba's just like, yeah, no timeouts, because I know what that trick is. I know what that trick's like, so you can't fool me, Kyorichio. You're going to use that to get an advantage there. And Kyorichio's like, what's that? You're going to do something to Hiyofumi here. And she goes on, as Hiyofumi goes on to explain what the problem actually is, which is that it boils back to Kyorichio being an arsehole and being a creep. That's always what it boils down to, because in order for this ability to actually work, they have to be in sync with each other. And since Hiyofumi has kind of, if this was when they first met, then yeah, they'd be perfectly in sync. But since Kyorichio couldn't help but be like the absolute dick to Tayu for about the 50 billionth time in front of his kids, like, he really should have known what was going to happen. And it's also coming back to this point, like, okay, we need to be in sync with each other, but we can't be in sync with each other, Uncle. Why? Because of you being an absolute creep. And she says, like, your strings, they're squiggly and wiggly and slimy. They make me all shudder that as we see just like how creepy Fumi views Kyorichio at this point. You just get like these devilish nightmare-induced moments of here. And it's like, yeah, I don't bloody blame her for how she's feeling right now. After having those thoughts of Kyorichio, Hifumi does say to him, like, look, uncle, I know deep down you're good and a nice person. Sometimes, but most of the time you're just a creep. Like, you've got to admit that. And like, Kyorichio, if you're ever gonna have people be on your side, you've got to get rid of that. Like, I know that's kind of your character and your personality, but at the same time, like, you're getting the younger generation now. You're gonna have to get out of that mindset. But it's okay, because with this chapter, there is a reason why I'm gonna be calling this Kyorichio's worst nightmare, as people will soon see. And I know I said this to Pie Jams, like, because let's be honest, this chapter, Kyorichio has to go through his worst nightmare, because as Ilfumi goes on and says, but Alpha told me that but Alpha told me before what that shuddery feeling usually means, and Kyorichio at this point knows, like, oh my god, yeah, I'm kind of screwed right now because of my own personality, and Hilford just like, I just can't do it with you, even though I know that sometimes deep down you're a nice character. I just can't do it with you. Just my mindset is just being like completely poisoned by you and what you've been doing. As Kyorichio at this point is just starting to panic and say, like, no, don't say that. This could very well kill me. And it's like, yeah, you kind of deserve this for all the crap you've put everyone through throughout the series, Kyorichio. And it was just like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to do this. I don't mean to do this. I'll try and fix it really well. And it's just like, oh, the feels is coming to me. As Futaba is thinking to herself, like, why are they blabbing it about down there? So it's like an opponent that's just being like, I'm going to put you, and then you have the team arguing with each other that they're facing. And it's just like, what the hell is going on down there? Are we even fighting anymore? Before Kyorichio goes and says, okay, but just this once, because I have to. Let's just say that this isn't me. Like, we need to get out of this situation. This is for your benefit. So let's say this isn't me. Let's say, for example, it is your brother Alpha, as we see him disguising himself as Alpha and doing all the things that Alpha will do. But of course, that only made things worse, and she just gives Kyorichio the death glare of just being like, die, how dare you impersonate my brother, you're gonna die, which just shows how close they are. Like, if someone ever did decide to impersonate Alpha or Ifumi in front of the other, then they'd probably be like, right away. Before Ifumi goes on and says, like, oh, there might be a way that I can get around this. You have to disguise yourself as Popper. He's spiky, fluffy hair, the circular, his big bright eyes. If you pretend to be Popper, then maybe I could do the combo attack with you without the shuddery feeling. And at this point, Kyorichio is just about to lose it. It's like, I can tolerate doing Alpha. I can tolerate doing Futaba. I can tolerate doing Mutsumi. I can even tolerate doing Alex. Like, I'm pretty sure he can tolerate disguising himself as Alex, but Kyorichio, like, we all knew as soon as she mentioned, like, just try and disguise yourself as Papa and act like Papa. We knew that Kyorichio would be like, this has got to be the worst possible day of my life. As he mentions here, it's like, please, anything but that. I will do anything. Like, he'd probably rather decapitate himself than actually disguise himself as Tayo. And yeah, by this point, I could believe him actually doing that. Yeah, and to go off on that as well, you can just imagine, like, all the nightmares Kyorichio was probably going to have about this chapter whenever Futaba or Hifumi probably being up, just being like, hey, remember that time when you disguised yourself as Ty? Be like, no, don't mention that. And he's probably going to beat up Tat. Like, I believe he does say later on in the chapter at some point. Let me No, he doesn't. He doesn't actually say it. But I I bet at this point he's going to be like, he's going to find some way to blame Tile for all this crap, even though Tile has literally nothing to do. No, nothing to do with this. But anyway, back to the chapter. So Futaba is just like readying her fist, and she's like, "Oh, okay. So you've had enough time for your meeting. Now it's time to give the slam dunk on her." And she puts both her fists together, raised them over to the air, and just be like, and I dropped my phone. Let's just go with that. Go with that. So she lifts her hands up to the air, just going like, and she says, "Time's up." So I'm gonna pick up my phone and we're gonna continue with this chapter. Yeah. So it's not every day you get a blooper right in the middle of the video. Obviously, I could have done all that again, but no. Let's just go along with it. Let's just make that a happy little accident because that just makes it more fun. So anyway, at this point, after Futaba brings down the fist of justice on them, we see the arcane goddess web and the yo-yo actually starting to work as it just decimates her arms. It's just like, okay, what's this coming on here? As we have, I can just imagine, like, if we ever get to this point in the anime, not saying it's going to happen because we don't know how successful the anime is going to be. Which, by the way, I really want to do a video on the anime once it's actually wrapped up. Probably do that as like a Control Chaos podcast. If Pyjams and Vex would be interested in doing that. So anyway, they got so anyway, what was this like? Yeah, I can imagine just like Tile's voice actor taking over Kyorichio's voice for this moment if we actually do get to this point in the anime. He goes on and says, "You're doing perfect. You're doing perfectly with your yo-yo here for me. Keep this up until we beat Anti-Futaba. You can do this together. You're proper." And you just have the word privacy as like it's just like, we are never gonna speak about this. Like, anybody who brings this up is gonna be dead, and you cannot see the face of Kyorichio imitating Tile. Like, the world should never be able to see this. I just love moments like that, and you can just see Kyorichio just cry his eyes like, this is the worst day of my life. This is even worse of the time when I had to pretend to be a baby for I. Like, yeah, Kyorichio hates Tile that much. Well, doesn't like it. It's kind of interesting because he hates him, but at the same time he doesn't hate him. It's kind of like a back and forth with him. But at the same time, he'd be like, he'll probably be like, okay, being a baby for I, imitating Tile. Like, that's probably his mindset of like, this is even worse than the time I had to pretend to be a baby for I. Futaba's face here just sums it up, just like the blank wide eyed expression, just like, what on earth is going on down there? But she, at this point, she starts to get interesting as we see a typhoon of just these powers just clashing with each other, and Hirofumi is just like that, just like, did we win? As we see both her and Kyorichio have made it underground, and she's just like, oh yeah, we actually did it. We actually. I think we actually got into that and we got away from Anti-Futaba. And Futaba at this point is just like, oh yeah, I kind of overdid it here. So we just see her last bit in chapter just being like, bouncing away, being like, hello, Hirofumi, Kyorichio, are you both there? And at this point, Kyorichio, this image of Kyorichio just being like, just looking like the white blood cell from Cells at Work. He kind of does look like that character, the white blood cell from Cells at Work, just being like a ghost of his former self, just being like, I'll never mention this to anyone. Of all people, I had to imitate him. Like, this is the worst day of my life. Like, nothing compares to this, and I'm never gonna speak of this day again. This is never gonna happen again. I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now. Just get rid of it. I'd rather be a ghost right now than have to be reminding myself that I had to imitate Tile. And but at this point, Hirofumi is just like, yeah, I guess we kind of won. Woohoo for family, so it'll be okay. You rest now, Funko. I'll take care of both of us as we have the caption say Hiyofumi and Kyorichio near death. Dr. Moses Lamb's infiltration begins. That's the end of the chapter. So, really, not much to go off on this chapter. It was just like a fun, like training chapter, basically wrapping up this portion of Hiyofumi's training. Whether or not this comes to the point where she can actually release her blooming, that remains to be seen. But I think the thing to take away from this is that Kyorichio, above all else, would rather. Like I said, would rather be dressed up as a baby for I than have to imitate Tayo. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like he really needs to get out of this mindset of just being like, I have to be the creep for everyone else's sake, and he really needs to get over his hatred of Tayo. Like at this point, like I feel like what should have been his training throughout the 5 years, throughout the 5 year time, so it should have been him mentally accepting that Tayo is with Mutsumi, he's part of my family, and I cannot take that back. I cannot take that back now. But nope, he didn't do any of that. So whether or not Kyorichio will ever get along with Tayo, no, what am I saying? He'll never get along with Tayo. But yeah, as I said, not really much to go off in this chapter. It was just a fun little romp, and maybe hopefully the next chapter will start to get things speeding up of this infiltration of Dr. Moses' life. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this has been Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.